Hi, welcome to our math. Today I'm doing a series of videos on solving quadratics and specifically looking at the quadratic formula. So the quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, so the part under the square root is called the discriminant because if it's positive, there's two real solutions. If it's 0, there is one real solution. If it's negative, there are two imaginary solutions. And if it's a perfect square, your original polynomial was factorable. So it says calculate the discriminant. So that's our b squared minus 4ac. So for this one, I have negative 16 squared minus 4 times negative 9. And if I do negative 16 squared minus 4 times negative 9, I get 400. Now, 400 is a perfect square. It then says solve the quadratic equation by any method. So I could do factoring. I could say 4 times negative 9 is negative 36. And then two numbers that multiply to negative 36 and add up to negative 16 are 2 and negative 18. Then I could use turn this 3-term polynomial into a 4-term polynomial, 4a squared plus 2a minus 18a minus 9. I pull a 2a out of the first two, a negative 9, 2a times 2a plus 1 minus 9, 2a plus 1. So I have 2a plus 1 times 2a minus 9. And so then 2a plus 1 equals 0 when 2a is a negative 1 or a is a negative 1/2. 2a minus 9 equals 0 when 2a is equal to 9 or a is equal to 9/2. And I have my two solutions. I could have used the quadratic formula. And the quadratic formula is not bad at this point because I can say x equals negative b, which b is this 16 right there. So negative b is going to be a positive 16 plus or minus the square root of the discriminant, which I already figured out is 400 all over 2a, so 2 times 4. So x is equal to 16 minus 20 over 8, which is a negative 4 over 8, which is a negative 1/2. Or 16 plus 20 over 8, which is a 36 over 8. And if we take a 4 out of top and bottom, we have 9/2. So factoring or quadratic formula, we're getting the same answer. So we really can choose either approach. And with the bigger numbers, sometimes the quadratic formula is faster, depending if you're doing this by hand or have a calculator, which normally you're doing it by hand. So you have to make that decision on what math you're willing to do by hand. Okay, the other thing that's nice about this discriminant is if this does come out to a perfect square and you're not being able to factor it, you probably have missed something. Okay, for my second example, if I start with b squared minus 4ac, I have negative 9 squared. I can't do this yet. I have to make it equal 0 first. I need to subtract an 11 off first so that I have 3p squared minus 9p minus 6 equals 0. Now some of you are looking at this and saying, hey, factor out a 3, and that's great. But I'm going to do this video as if that's not something you noticed. Okay, so negative b, still negative 9 squared, minus 4 times 3 times negative 6. This becomes a 153. 153 is not a perfect square, which means the quadratic formula is the only way to solve this problem. So p equals negative b, well, 9 is negative and minus a negative is positive, so negative b is 9 plus or minus the square root of 153 all over 2 times 3. Now it says, when applicable, round to 3 decimal places. P is equal to 9 minus the square root of 153 all over 6, which, if we put this into our calculator, we get that this is negative 0.562. Or p is equal to 9 plus the square root of 153 over 6, which, if we put this into our calculator, is 3.562. If this was something you were required to do without a calculator, this would have been the final answer right here. But with a calculator, we can go to the precise answer. Actually, I guess this is more precise, the rounded answer. All right, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my Facebook page, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks.